Okay, then I'm gonna call the Select Board meeting of Tuesday, May 24th to order. Just note that Lindsay is not feeling well, so stayed home this evening. And we have Kathleen with us on Zoom, so she's here for reference and support. She's upstairs. First item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. There are two updates.
Hang on just a second. Sorry. Kathleen, did you return the record on, or do I need to do that?
Recording in progress.
Sorry.
It's all right. Now we are recording. And by the way, we started right at 7 o'clock for the notes. So town manager's report, there was the FY23 year-to-date budget reports are in your packet, and also item 6, approval of the new second-class liquor license application for the Faraway LLC, doing business as Schmetterling Wine Shop. All right. Are there any other requested or changes that you're aware of? So all in favor of approving the agenda with the two updates, signify with positive.
Aye.
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 Oh.
I'm brain dead after the day today. Next is approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moving seconded. A couple things that I would like to just call your attention to. We are approving the annual certification of compliance with roads and bridges. Our packet wasn't quite complete, and so there's a little bit more in there. There's a letter of support for Vermont Agency of Transportation Municipal Assistance Bureau grant, bicycle and ped grant for Virgin's application. And our year-to-date budget results are in our packet. There's also something in there that actually I was working on just before coming here, which is the enhanced communications plan for Middlebury Airport community. And now that the legislature is adjourned, the state staff has got a little bit more time, and we're getting that moving forward. And so their first meeting is coming right up. The working group to develop a communications plan on how we share information both ways about the airport and try to ensure that people know what's going on out there. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
I'm glad the flood resiliency project's complete.
Sorry?
The flood resiliency project, the updates,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's done. That was a big project.
That was a big
time.
project. Hey,
Took a long
it's
time.
nice to have that done.
Looked good.
And I do like the updates, then the packet with the pictures, so.
And there was an opportunity to test it a little bit this spring, so. Citizen comments. I think you're all here for something that's on the agenda. You're not?
I'm just here.
Just here?
Perfect.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome, yes.
He's waiting to hear you talk is what he's here for. They line up when you speak.
Heather, are there any hands up in the remote attendees?
There aren't any attendees other than Middlebury Community TV.
Oh, wow.
All right.
So
Quiet night.
I think we're good right now.
Okay. So
We're a little ahead of schedule, so I'll keep an eye on it to see if anyone.
I wanted to, because we had a fairly light agenda, I wanted to broach the first conversation on our ARPA funds, how we would allocate those funds. And Kathleen and I were bouncing back and forth some options, and in your packet, there's a couple allocation models for board's consideration.
I'm gonna try to get it up, hold on. You can keep going, but I'm gonna try to get it up on the
If you can find
screen.
it, yep. Both models propose 3 major allocation buckets focused on the town infrastructure needs, which are wastewater treatment, water, and transportation. Model B, at the bottom of the page, allocates 5% to supporting broadband deployment, if it's determined that local funding is needed. I know that's still a work in process. And proposes a 10% allocation for a project expediter position, which we have seen in our shift to the way we do public works, from having one guy doing it all to having an ops and a planner, that we've got where our projects are more timely, they're ready, and we then can be working to apply for grants and everything before we move forward. So we're actually getting more done because of that. We know that Dan is retiring at the end of the year, and the idea is that we would spend some of that money to bring on somebody now, so that we have somebody else working it, and they could be doing some of the project work at the same time, learning from Dan. So that's a thought for us to consider, to use some of those funds, because that would be directly working to, and could be used, the ARPA funding, to help us use the ARPA funds in projects, because there's a lot of work in planning, developing those projects. It would be then, we would have somebody who's done the crossover, and then we would be hiring for a full-time position. The person could apply, but at least we would have some defined crossover, because we're not budgeted right now to have, 2 people in there.
So I've lost. We're budgeted to have
We're budgeted to have
Dan,
in the plans.
right.
This is a planning position.
So this would turn Dan's job into 2 people, having Dan?
Temporarily, while we're doing all these projects that we're, because it's more than, frankly, it's more than Dan can do right now.
Okay, so the 10% is a lot of money? And so that would be a several-year project? That's a position?
3 years.
3 years, okay. I just,
And
all
this-
right, and
this is-
I read
this
that, I
is-
just didn't understand
this is
why.
for our consideration.
Okay,
And this is, to get you guys thinking about how we allocate these funds.
okay, yep,
It's not putting exact dollars against it, it's just rough percentages.
yep,
We may
yep.
find that as we look at a project, we get more grants in one area, less grants in another area. It may have, we may have more grants for water, for instance, and not for transportation.
Right.
And we might want to do a transportation project, but it gives us the idea of, we're gonna spend it on these, we can look at projects in these 3 areas.
What's the time frame that we have to spend the money?
Oh, I knew it cold before. What is it,
Kathleen knows.
You have to commit the funds to a project by December 31st, 2024,
Okay.
and all of the funds have to be expended by December 31st, 2026, I believe.
Yeah. They extended it out from the original,
That's nice.
which I think we can owe to Senator Leahy pushing for that, but it's still that's a lot of
Yeah,
money
okay.
to spend.
Gotta move, yeah.
Our planning cycle usually is 1 to 2 years. So if we're gonna have commitments, we need to get guys in there planning.
Sure.
So that was the thought, what Kathleen, I'm supportive of that idea personally, because I don't see us being able to do it without some help in there. And it may not be 10%. But the idea of funding that position to get going on these projects. So I'm looking for your thoughts, because we need to, I think we should provide Kathleen a little bit of guidance to try to narrow some of this down, or start working with staff on ideas on how we fill these.
I'm not really familiar with Project Expediter.
That's,
I know engineers, I know clerk of the works, I know some of the way projects get done. The title of Project Expediter is new to me. And I'd love to see something like a job description to,
Andy?
Yeah.
It's an entirely new concept.
I see.
And I just put that descriptor on it. What it would be, I think it's, it might be clearer to say it would be an assistant director of public works planning.
Okay.
So that the director could focus on, the director would be the one more focused on the project, and the deputy would be doing all of the background work, other things that need to be done day to day in planning for public works
Okay.
construction.
Project Expediter.
I think that came out of our discussion, because we're looking at, they're doing the same thing as Dan's doing. You know, only a part of it helping, but to try to expedite us working through all of the candidate projects. And
Sure, if you dump $3 million more projects onto someone's lap while they're sunsetting their time with the town,
It isn't gonna happen.
it seems like you need to have more hours available.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I'm thinking is
Would you
lose.
do me a favor, please, and get the shade behind you?
Yeah, it's pretty bright, right?
When I read this, I was kind of thinking that in the search for Dan's replacement, we might also find that candidate as well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Kathleen, I see her
That's-
nodding, so.
That's what I was kind of alluding to. They may slide into the full-time position, then you could hire another expediter,
Yep.
another assistant.
you need more than that.
Thank you.
Keep going. You're doing a good job. So in general, an allocation like this looks appropriate. I understand. I know we're sitting on the potential for a very large sum of money required for wastewater treatment, and water and transportation is always out there eating us up. So, distributing, and you know, this is kind of a once in a blue moon time that we get $2.6 million. So I think we should do it wisely, although we're very successful with grants. And this is basically a big grant. And
Well, and we're looking, frankly, we're looking to take these funds and leverage them for other grants.
right, because we need to have money in the bank to leverage some grants, I understand, so. And you know, we've got other projects that are sitting in there too that wouldn't be necessarily be appropriate, like public works buildings and libraries and things like that, which are probably not appropriate in ARPA funding. So,
Yeah, I don't know if that was imagined, but, you know, we need, once this guidance goes forward, then we need Dan and Heather and their committee to all look at what are the candidate projects and bring us, and because they have projects that they know they're funding on a cycle based upon our tax revenues and
Correct.
our normal process. But what are those projects that would benefit by this, that are meaningful to the community, most meaningful to the community? And so we need to then identify them.
I like that, yes. I agree.
So you want to think about it? I mean, we added this at my request because the it was relatively brief, and I really do think we need to get moving forward on this process. I think it's now time to kick it into gear.
I think we can think about it, but also it makes sense to add those two. Ross Conrad, he was going to be here today. He mentioned he wanted to talk about broadband. I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Well, my thought is to sit on it as long as we possibly can, because they keep coming up with, they've had pretty healthy amounts of money. I mean, the feds, dumped $100 million, wasn't it, on the broadband for the state?
I think the state allocated 100 million.
Yeah,
of
so,
federal ARPA money.
you know, and we've got time to do this, so, and it's a pretty small thing, but we'll just wait to see how it washes out for the county.
Also because Middlebury has so much broadband, we are low on the build-out list
Yeah,
for Maple Broadband.
yeah, the county has a lot to do, Middlebury doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do know Ross had some thoughts on it, at least, and I'll just share what he had shared with me, is at least if Middlebury, if we could at least start with a smaller allocation, but so that they could say Middlebury had given, he feels that might make them more competitive for other grants and loans and stuff, that shows the town of Middlebury support. So we might start with something smaller, and I think, I haven't talked to Ross in a while, so it might be good to get an update after their grants and see where they're at on the ability to even do some building this year. I don't know where they stand. They were one of the 2 or 3 that when the state was high, I think I read about it in Digger, but so one of the press was highlighting the process, and there was 2 or 3 of the CUDs that were ahead of the others, and you know, the Maple was like maybe 3rd or something like that. So it looked like they were going to be ahead of some of the others and actually getting some work done. But I don't know if where they stand on getting the raw materials to build out.
They have orders in for
Right.
materials to build this year.
Yeah,
Orders in. I don't know where
Yeah.
I happen to be in materials business too.
Supply chains are
Order-
weird all around, yeah,
Orders doesn't mean you're going to have anything.
right.
So we ought to get an update on that from Ross at some point.
Well, and that's, we need to get updates from Public Works and particularly the water and wastewater treatment and the infrastructure committee, to see how they win. I think the distribution is great, but we need to be fitting things in there, or having projects that come before us that we understand how to spend the money. But the allocation is fine. I mean, and it can be shifted. Maybe it all ends up in wastewater or something, but.
Yeah. Well, here's an idea then. If we, because this isn't like we're not making a decision, we're as far as that we're allocating funds or
Right.
anything like that. We're not doing any kind of allocation appropriation. We're giving some general guidance is what we're doing. And if we're comfortable with it, I might say that we should endorse one of these for Kathleen to start working with staff to bring us some ideas that attach then potential projects to those buckets and stuff, so that we can move that process forward and we can actually have some more concrete idea of what those projects would look like that could fit into those buckets.
Well, I think, my opinion would be if you want to support one of these, then I would support Allocation B, because it gives a little more flexibility, and Kathleen and the staff say that they need this project Expediter. It'll be interesting to hear how that will fit in, and we certainly need to be considering it if they're asking for it. And I like the idea that says broadband if needed, so the Allocation B I think is.
it looks great to me, the allocation, the way it is.
Don't disagree, yeah. I think Ross would be happy to see broadband in there.
I think it would be money well spent, you know, put some money towards broadband too.
Well, and my opinion was, I'd be okay if somebody can show me why we need it now, or when they need it, and what it's gonna do, and if it's gonna leverage more money, then I'll be supportive of it. But like I said, I like the if needed there.
Yeah, and I think that's great for folks to show us how it would all pan out.
There's a lot of typing going on. Care to read what the comments
That's
are?
that's your
That's just the,
caption.
Oh, that's being, yeah.
that's the, what is it, the
It's like
closed
somebody must have
captioning?
joined us and they're
I
trying
was-
to make a comment.
I thought you were staring at something over there. That's what was going on over there. I kept looking.
My eyes aren't that good tonight.
It's the closed captioning going on
Oh,
for
okay.
the recording, for the broadcast.
For the broadband, I agree with Brian about starting something small as a token of support to them and see where it goes.
So, do we have a general consensus then to give Kathleen the go-ahead on, sounds like B would be the
Yes.
board's preference?
I agree with B for Dan's reason that having 5 buckets instead of 3, there's more flexibility. I am skeptical of Middlebury supporting the CUD.
Yeah.
We need to hear and see more.
For sure. Yeah, we have the least to gain. We are well-served by incumbent carriers, unlike many of the towns in Addison. And we are going to be really late for the build-out. And I'm guessing, I was on the EC Fiber board for a number of years. I'm familiar with the models and how this stuff works. And I think that the focus on the underserved ignores the fact that a lot of people would want to be part of a municipally owned broadband service rather than giving their money to Comcast and Charter and Fairpoint. But the state and the CUD are pretty clear that the focus is on the folks who have nothing right now. And that's not necessarily a wise business move for the CUD, but it is good in terms of bringing some service to folks who have nothing. But it's not in Middlebury's interest.
Well, and we'll have that discussion before we
Sure.
allocate any
Okay.
funds.
Okay.
I think we need to know, you've got some questions, I have questions. Neither Farhad or I have high speed, so,
At all.
and we both live in Middlebury, so
Yeah.
there are
I was going to
underserved
comment on
populations
that.
in
When you said
Middlebury.
Middlebury is well-served, a lot of people would disagree on that.
No, of course they would.
Compared to Addison, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But Middlebury on its own, I don't think it's well-served right now.
Yes.
So what
and-
speeds are you guys getting out there?
Consolidated.
And what are they giving you?
It's like,
I'm supposed to get 20 Mbps, and I get like maybe 6 or 7.
Ooh,
that's about.
I just ordered Starlink, by the way, which I
Interesting.
just received, which is 20 times better.
Did you get Starlink?
I had to sign up like 2 years ago.
What is that?
That's-
So I can
New
see it in
satellite
2
thing.
years?
Elon Musk's,
Satellite?
yeah, it's not one satellite, it's like a mesh of satellites, and your dish actually, you can see it moves as the satellites move. But it's good service.
Good.
It's a little bit pricey.
Well, next time you won't fade in and out then.
I hope not. I hope we don't go on Zoom anyways.
that's right.
Okay, so Kathleen, is that sufficient guidance for you to move forward with staff? Okay. Next is a new business coming to town, and we'll invite the faraway owners, I assume?
Yes,
Yes, please come forward, and
that's who we want to steer.
Yes. Yeah.
Erica and Danielle. Danielle.
And Danielle.
Danielle?
Erica.
Erica, okay. Yeah, you just got notified, didn't you?
Yeah, it feels like a very eventful day.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Are you what, the owners?
Yeah, so, I have a workers
That's, just tell us a little bit about your business.
What?
Just tell us a little bit about your business
Okay,
and yourselves.
so, I'm Danielle. We recently moved to Shoreham, and last year, we've been looking for a place to home for a wine shop that we want to open. We're on the spot at 48 Main, right here. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, doing lots of different things, waiting tables, farming, wine buying, events. I owned a natural wine bar on Martha's Vineyard for the past few years that closed because didn't anymore. And so yeah, tons of experience. The shop will be focused on selling natural wines, low intervention in the fields and cellar, and as much local wine as we can get and sell. A lot is made, but it's all pretty small quantity. So pretty focused, and I'll be in there working, focused on education for our small staff that we will eventually have, and all the wine buying.
I'm Erica. I am going to be doing overseeing the business management and an attorney, and I do co-op law and teach at Vermont Law School in local food systems. So I am going to be in kind of the back office, but also overseeing the day-to-day. And the business, the tentative hours, if tentative is okay with you, we can.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Official hours, and
No.
we'll change them later if we have to. But the tentative hours are 11 to 7, Thursday through Monday. And
Something open beyond 5.
yes,
Yay.
that is exactly the goal.
Awesome.
Because we too want to buy wine after dinner or before dinner. Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
And we're really interested in being a queer community spot as well, as much as
Good.
a wine shop can be that. It's really important to us to have places to go and see ourselves in places around town. So that will be part of the business model too.
Cool.
Flying and everybody's welcome.
Cheese?
Well, I mean, I love cheese. Right
Whenever I
now,
hear
just-
wine, I think of cheese.
There's no plumbing there, so we wouldn't be able to. Well, we're not going to build out any additional plumbing,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't be able to cut
Phase
cheese there. So, but it is absolutely the need for charcuterie in Middlebury is not lost on us.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Any questions?
It's the second class license is just for selling, not for serving, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're asking the state for the delivery endorsement, so hopefully that will be a significant part of our operations as well.
Delivery meaning you can
Locally.
deliver to people.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
That's
Okay, remember, with that license, can you do wine tastings? You can,
I believe that you
I
can
think
only
you can.
do wine tastings with a winemaker
okay.
present. So I think the producer is a necessary part of the tasting.
Okay.
But it is one point of my continued research.
Yeah, so if you invited local producers in, you could do tastings of their wines.
Absolutely. That would be, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay, great. Sounds like fun.
Any other questions?
It's
Yeah.
exciting. Love it.
Okay,
Yeah, glad
so-
you chose Middlebury.
Yeah, we're either home or we're like in Middlebury, I feel like.
Yeah.
At the library. The whole internet thing that we're talking about.
Oh, that whole internet thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Okay. You politely kept quiet.
Well, our house is in Shoreham, so.
So you need to be talking,
Enough said.
you need to be talking to them, yes.
And this approval would be pending the completed public safety inspections.
So I'll move to approve the second-class liquor license and retail delivery permit application for Faraway LLC, doing business as Schmetterling Wine Shop, pending the receipt of a completed public safety inspection.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hey, welcome to the community.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Excited to be here. Awesome.
Can you tell us about the name?
Schmetterling, it does not have a good story. It means butterfly in German, and we love German and Alsatian wines, so
Ooh.
they will
That's
probably be overly represented.
All right.
I feel like if it was, I mean, no one's had any trouble saying it, but if maybe it was hard to say for people, it would stick in their mind, so then they'd be like, what was that?
Are you still teaching at Vermont Law School?
Yeah, my class just finished up.
Yeah, you just had graduation.
Yeah.
One of my nephews just graduated from there.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives in, his family lives in Burlington.
It's a really excellent program. I
Yep.
think especially in the
Oh, yeah.
food and ag
Yep.
work, which obviously that is
Welcome to Middlebury.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Heather, can you invite Dan in as a presenter?
Kathleen sent a message that his mother is not
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
and I may have to fill in.
so you're filling in.
So if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
But of course.
So this is a late notice, so I'll just run through things.
We could have Chief Shaw talk about his
Yeah.
breathing apparatus.
Yeah. He's ordering some wine right now.
Make sure you include me in that buy.
They're gonna do a tasting before
I
the
think
public
there's some-
safety inspections.
I think there's some conflicts of interest going on here, but I'm not sure.
Especially the Alsatian wines.
Do you wanna talk about the CBAs?
I would love to.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, super. I'm here tonight to request the purchase of 6 replacement self-contained breathing apparatus.
My fan club
I
is one
know.
by
Skateboarders.
Yeah.
That was sweet. That was sweet.
The replacement of these 6 air packs would take care of air packs that have currently been in service for 19 years. They were purchased in 2003. We have stretched their life to the point where we need to let them go. They're a life-saving device and they're not reliable. We're spending more time out of service than we are in service. And the purchase of these 6 air packs will migrate us into the next version of self-contained breathing apparatus and get us into the 4,500 PSI range and out of the 2216 range.
Does that make it lighter?
Makes it lighter, yeah. They come with a composite bottle now. And when I first joined, they were steel, and then they went to aluminum, now they're composite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have the buoyancy of scuba diving either, did you?
No, that's right. You didn't need that weight for sure.
It's not something I'd want to have fail on me when I was needing
No,
it.
it's a little scary.
Yeah.
It's happened to me before, yeah. When that thing
Yeah.
sticks to your face, you can be a little bit shocked, yeah. So, it hasn't happened yet, but it's time for these to go. And it's time to replace them with this particular model. We did check another vendor, and the other vendor was more money than MES. We've done business with MES for a very long time. They take good care of our equipment. When our stuff is down, he typically stops into the fire station once every 2 weeks, and so we don't have to call him anymore. They have a lot of accounts in Chittenden County, so it saves us a trip expense as well. So
Great. How's the new truck working out?
good, yeah. We're still learning. We figure we have 25 years to learn, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used one of the features today. We had a gas spill, and we built that truck with a speedy dry hopper and the ability to clean that up, and so we were able to roll 1 truck instead of 2, and that's what we had labor for, so it worked out really well today.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Go ahead.
Were you gonna make the motion? Go for it.
I was just gonna ask how many of these SCBA do you have
We
now?
have 38.
So only 6 are going to be,
38, and then this 38 will be part of this 6 will be part of the 38.
so when will be the next cycle due, you think?
Next cycle due will be No, I'm not prepared to answer that, so I don't wanna throw a date out and not give you the
Okay.
right information.
But
I
you're
can
good for
track
now.
it down. Oh, yeah, we'll be good for a while, absolutely.
Yeah, you've got that whole spreadsheet going.
Yeah, we've got the whole spreadsheet going, and this comes out of the capital improvements budget.
Yep, I saw it.
And, yeah,
I'll move to award a contract to Municipal Emergency Services under the sole source purchases provision of the purchasing policy for the purchase of 6 self-contained breathing apparatuses at a total cost of $39,150.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, Chief.
thank you much, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So items, do you want me to jump ahead
Sure.
to the next item?
Yes, please.
Okay. 7B is the recommendation of award of contract to the library, on the library fire alarm system. I would like to call out Nick Ardum on his fabulous memo in evaluating the bids. I'm sure you all saw it in the packet. He made a great recommendation, which the board supported. Or sorry, not the board, the committee supported. The Royal Group's, so I had asked a question in infrastructure about the Royal Group's annual monitoring fee, which is a little bit higher than the quoted Summit Fire, but not significantly, as you can see in the $299 versus the $252. And so the infrastructure committee supported Nick's recommendation to award the contract to the Royal Group.
Any questions of Heather? Take a lot of years for that $47 per year to add up to the difference between the two.
And I think there was I didn't bring the memo actually up, but there was a comment too in there about that the unit would be expandable and reusable.
Yes.
If depending on what was decided as far as the library
Yeah.
renovation expansion project.
Pleasure of the board.
I'll move to award a contract to the Royal Group for installation of a replacement fire alarm system at the Isley Public Library at a total cost of $23,561.89.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Next.
7C is the recommendation of award of contract for paving on North Branch Road. Dan put the paving out to rebid after we removed Kings Row and Lino Lane. The only bid we received was from Pike's Paving. The total cost of that bid was $78,131.20. And you can see the quote in here that does the fine grading work and paves approximately 1,600 feet of North Branch Road. And DPW has already done ditching and grading on this section, and he says it looks great. I haven't been up there myself, but I'm sure it does. Questions?
It's crazy pricey. A third of a mile at almost $80,000. Wow.
And that's in the right ballpark price. With one bid, it could be,
Parking lot. at my
Yeah, I
store.
think it was comparable, so we
25
had
grand
gotten a
industrial,
bid that included Lino Lane and Kings Row and
right,
North Branch. I think the numbers are comparable to that original bid.
Yeah.
But we didn't have enough funds to do all that with everything else that's going on. We do have the funds to cover this because we've been setting aside in the capital improvement budget funds specifically for paving gravel roads.
Okay.
And so we do have the funds available. But yes, we did anticipate higher than expected paving numbers because of the price of petroleum.
Yeah. And labor and everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Any other questions? Pleasure of the board.
I'll move to award a contract to Pike Paving for the paving of North Branch Road at a total cost of, I'm gonna amend that, paving approximately 1,600 feet of North Branch Road at a total cost of $78,181.20.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I've got warrant review. We've got lots of talking to do tonight.
Should
So-
have turned over the meeting to you.
Yeah. You don't ever usually get to see me run a meeting because when I run a meeting, you're not here. All right, I did review the warrants this morning. I found everything in good order. I moved to approve total expenditures in the amount of $310,379.24, consisting of $199,098.66 for accounts payable and $111,280.58 for payroll for the period of May 11, 2020 through May 24th, 2020.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Something went ding here,
Oh,
so
sorry.
it distracted me.
I just get distracted, or? I fell asleep, so.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're already into board member concerns. Start with you, Andy.
I have nothing at this time.
Esther?
I think I just want to call attention to, I'm going to call it a massacre that took place in Texas today.
It just popped up on my phone.
Yeah, at
What?
the school.
Oh, yeah.
20 kids, somebody mass shooting,
And,
and a teacher.
yep. And then I'm going to call it a massacre again that happened in Buffalo.
Yep. That was,
It is heart-wrenching. I've shed a lot of tears. It makes me grateful to be a part of this community and the work that we're doing around DEI and just helping folks to see different perspectives, because that's where it starts, because the shooters in both cases were 18. Just young folks. I don't know the reason. But again, grateful that we're prioritizing getting to know other people, seeing different perspectives, because it's so important. And yeah, those families are in my heart and my prayers, and I believe there's hope. It's kind of hard to see it at times.
You should remind people about the DEI survey.
Yes, and we have a DEI survey that we're asking folks to fill out when you can. I feel like it's everywhere. But reach out if you need it. It's on Facebook. I believe, Kathleen, is it on our website?
You're on mute, Kathleen.
Oh, didn't you always want to say that?
Yes.
I thought so.
I'll make sure it is.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
I did notice it was in the email blast that went out, I think, Friday last
Right.
week, too.
Yep.
Yes, so thank you, Kathleen, for sending it out. But yeah, please participate. Please be a part. We're trying to make our home better.
What is the deadline? I don't remember what it
I
said.
don't remember the deadline either.
We're trying to wrap it up by tomorrow,
Ooh,
depending on the number of responses we get.
So everybody go do it tonight.
how are the responses so far, Kathleen?
Last time I knew, they were in the area of 300.
Okay.
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 So thank you to all those who filled it out too.
Yeah, perfect.
hey, good.
Okay. Farhad?
Yeah, I was going to, thank you for bringing that up about Texas, and it just reminds me that how close those kind of incidents to us, considering what happened in Middlebury a few weeks ago. Those little incidents, this is little hate incident that you magnified by times 20, that's Texas, right?
Yeah.
So we should be watchful. My thoughts are with them, and hope we don't have any more of those. I wanted to bring up something that there is a discussion on Front Porch Forum about the crossing out Middlebury into the green and from the green to the other green or something. How dangerous it is. There's a discussion going on for the past week A lot of people are commenting that it's not a safe place to cross, especially for kids after school.
Which crossing, the one right in front of
From
Right
us?
the into
Or
the
the one
both,
that goes
both of the
diagonal?
greens. From the-
Okay, that was on our agenda last night at Public Health and Safety, and we are making a recommendation that it's gonna come to the select board to put in crossing flashers there. And actually, a couple of them, there's gonna be one right at the crosswalk, and there's gonna be one up above it, so when you come around the corner, it starts flashing, and you're gonna see it, so that for the people running
Yep.
around the corner. That was Chief's idea, but we're gonna make a recommendation to us to do that.
I hope that V-Trans will let us.
Hmm?
I hope V-Trans will let us.
That's part of the question, but we already have one, a couple 100 yards further down, so.
Well,
And the chief, we also talked, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but this is, we talked yesterday a lot about people's responsibilities when they go in the crosswalks, and everybody has a responsibility to go in the crosswalk. In other words, when you're standing on the curb, there's no requirement for anybody to stop. You have to be into the crosswalk for them to stop, and then it's your response. Now, also, if you just go bolting out into the crosswalk, like a lot of Chief Shaw saw somebody walking with a cell phone, hit the flashers and just kept right on going, and the car had to scream to a stop and swerve to miss the person. And that person going out there is actually burdened if you jump out like that. So so Laura, who's passionate about these, is going to make some front porch forum posts about citizens' responsibilities in crossing crosswalks.
I agree with you. People, especially with the cell phone, like people are in the cell phone, they keep walking. But the traffic that comes from top of the hill coming down, sometimes it's too fast.
Well, that's why the first, there's gonna be 2 flashers coming around the corner. One to come around the corner, you're gonna see it, and you're still gonna have a couple of 100 feet before you get to the crosswalk.
And I hardly see anybody stopping. People who come from the Shaw side, and they just bolt right there.
Oh, yeah.
They're supposed to yield, and
Oh, yeah.
and I've seen many times, they just don't even stop, they don't even look, they just keep going.
That whole mess, that's a mess right there. So we thought we were gonna see that tonight, but it didn't. Chief didn't get to it, I guess. It's okay.
I'm good,
You're good?
thank you.
Did you reach out to, I forget who was who called many of us on the board? Had you talked to him? He's in the airport neighborhood?
I didn't, I left him a message, he never called me back.
Yeah.
And I stopped one time at his house, he's right next door to us,
Yeah.
and nobody was there.
Okay.
I'm planning to reach out to him again.
I did talk to him.
So had you seen the emails of what we had going on before you talked to him? I just wanted to make sure he knows what we've got in the works.
I had not seen, I emailed Kathleen and you this morning,
Yeah.
and she said she would forward on to me. I basically just listened to his side of the conversation and what his concerns were, and I didn't realize until after I started talking to him that he had called all of us,
Yep.
so.
Yeah,
So
I did
anyway.
the same. I
think-
listened.
Kathleen, did you have your hand up on this one?
I'm happy to send that report out to everybody, and I've also spoken to Jason.
You did speak to Jason? Okay, so maybe that's why he's not here this evening, because one of his concerns, like, was that we were authorizing work done at, or somebody in the community, we were authorizing work done at 4 AM. And it was requested by a neighbor, had nothing to do with the town nor the airport, and, you know, so.
It was actually my neighbor who had ordered Comcast service, and the ECI,
Yeah.
they were there. I don't know why they came there early in the morning, like 3 or 4.
My guess is they got so much work and not enough help, and they're trying to get it all done.
That's true.
The speeding thing is a concern. I mean, we keep repeatedly hearing about speeding concerns on multiple roads in
Yep.
town, and I don't know what the solution is, but, it's just on my mind.
I got passed the other day on South Street.
I would tell
Somebody
you
passed me.
that Nanette was getting on me, you know, why don't we put one of the warning signs on our dirt road, because people were going, 45 miles an hour on that dirt road. And I said, our traffic count is not such that it can justify it, and so, no, I'm not gonna bring that up, but it seems to be almost, an increasing concern in the way people drive, and I don't know how we.
I have to tell you, I know Chief Hanley is not gonna like to hear it, but, I was driving, in Burlington, north there between, like Winooski and Colchester, where the speed is down, you go across downhill, go across the bridge, and there was a state trooper sitting there, and the speeds were under control. A police car is extremely effective in making people follow the rules. And for me personally, the speeding obviously is one, but the number of people that I see disregarding stop signs, disregarding red lights, just in the last week, and the number of close calls I've seen, it's just, I don't know what's going on with people and following the rules of the road, but it's just not our community having issues, so.
Dan, did you have
Yeah,
anything else?
I've got one, I've sent a couple emails to Kathleen about this, but there's persistent comments in Front Porch Forum about a lot of great things and a lot of crazy things, but there's lots of times there's comments about things about the community, about the town, about public services and stuff like that. So I asked if anybody in the town actually monitors those, and Kathleen assured me, yes, they monitor them. But my question is should the town be responding to any of these? Because a lot of them are just saying things that they're talking about, paving projects. When's it going to be done? Or when are they going to pave this road? And it's Colonial Drive is going to be paved. And should the town be responding? And there was a comment the other day that nobody that works for the town pays attention to Front Porch Forum. And I know we all do.
Absolutely.
And so is the town. But should we or the town be making any informative responses? I'm not talking about rebuttals or things, but information.
That could be construed as a rebuttal, and somebody might start a debate about that. You say something, they say something, I don't know.
It feels like a lazy approach, right? Like, instead of calling the town to just publicly say, when is this going to get done, instead of taking.
Well, that would be the number one comment I would make, and I've never done that. And one of them was about the water, the chlorine. I mean, everybody says, does anybody having water? I'd call the water department personally.
Have you tasted water? Did you taste the water today or something?
But should maybe at that time, I know we send out lots of emails, but maybe we should take the emails we send out and post them on Front Porch Forum as a post on Front Porch Forum. It's a way to communicate. It's a way a lot of people are only communicating in the town.
And we do that from time to time.
Okay.
I have, I imagine part of it is staff time. You could almost have a full-time person managing media relations, social media relations, right? And I do recall.
Well, that would actually be a good idea, but.
Before she retired, Beth would often respond in town capacity, I believe.
I've seen a couple.
And provide information, so, anyway.
I have mixed emotions about it, because it's not our official. We have two official channels. We voted for the Addison Independent, and we have our website with the mass mailings, that our email list, that anybody who really cares to know what we're sending out has the opportunity to sign up. And we've made extensive outreach, especially during Laura's time on the board, to try to let people know that this was a way.
Yep.
I think you have to, I mean, there's lots of other communications that go around. There's other newspapers, this Front Porch Forum. I find a lot of the comments on Front Porch Forum are not researched, and if the people would call and ask, they would have an answer. So,
I agree.
So I have not traditionally answered them, even though I see them, but we take action on ones that are legitimate.
Absolutely.
But that's not official communications. Everybody has on our website our emails. I mean, there's lots of other things. I got a little personally perturbed with Front Porch Forum's style back when we had our main project, because it was all negativism.
Yep.
And a lot of passive-aggressive comments. And so I did disregard it, because I didn't find it to be helpful. And people who came in with issues, we tried to work through them, and everybody was working hard. So I personally, if somebody says that the town doesn't take it seriously, maybe it's because the people that are doing it know that there's official channels and there's a way to reach out if it's a significant issue.
Right.
And for us to be expected, especially with the staff levels that we have and the number of projects we have going on, and the fact that we all put in a significant amount of time, to expect us to be monitoring just so that we can answer somebody's one-off question, I think is unreasonable. So no, I don't feel we should be tasking somebody to answer those things. I do know that, like, Laura Certainly does a very nice job, and will even go on because she monitors our stuff.
Right.
And she has answered and copied me on some of the stuff, like, there was a question on there, I guess. I stopped reading it, so I don't know, but there was a question on there about the Exchange Street bike path, which has been has been stymied for a long time.
Yep.
And people forget about it. We've announced what the holdup is on that, as far as the property that's stuck in probate. But we just can't keep doing that. Every newsletter we send out isn't going to have it. So if you didn't read that newsletter, you don't know about it. So.
Right, and I think the most important point was to have not necessarily a rebuttal, but using it as a communication method when we send out the emails, all the announcements. Why don't we do a post on Front Porch Forum and saying this is the meeting schedule for the week? That comes out every Friday, and this is an announcement that the water outage today and stuff like that. I mean, I think that would be appropriate.
And it might be a way to get the Front Porch Forum onto our email list, so that whenever we send one out, it goes direct with Front Porch Forum.
That might be an idea. It'd be nice if everybody on Front Porch Forum would sign up for our emails. That would help. That would help a lot. But again, a lot of people just use Front Porch Forum for their only.
Yeah, our emails tend to be, I think, more detailed and meaningful than the average.
Links.
Yes.
You could link to it.
Right.
Like a paid announcements that they do. And if you don't do it, you're missing on all these great buys.
I don't get through all my emails. Jeez.
I even retired, I have trouble doing that.
Heather.
Just quickly, if anyone is interested in another tour, I know I brought it up with Andy, but if any of you want to see infrastructure in the town, there's another tour tomorrow. So if you want details, Kathleen and I could give that to you. So, and other than that, I'm good.
Okay.
You want want me to take us into executive session?
Let me just, I do have one comment,
Oh,
and
yes.
I mentioned it earlier, but just if somebody wasn't listening about that, we are moving forward with the communications strategy and planning for the airport, and so Nick is representing the town, so that he's got continuity between that and his presence on the planning review. And Prem Prakash is the MANA representative, and then there's Michelle Boomhauer from the Department of Transportation, the Agency of Transportation, and who am I forgetting, Kathleen? You. Are you on that? No, you're not.
I'm an option
Okay.
attending.
And I think, was Dan Delabriere gonna join them too on that? I can't remember.
I think he's on there. I think he's on there.
But it's a small group, so that they are communicating and trying to figure out a way to ensure that activities that are going on can get pushed out to the community, and so it's a working group. This is not the end-all, be-all. This is a working group to develop a process that hopefully gets information out better. Maybe from whatever comes of that, we can have some ideas, Dan,
Yep.
for the town, so.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, please, executive session.
In accordance with Vermont's open meeting law requirements, I move that the board find that premature general knowledge of the consideration of a real estate matter and contracts would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its negotiating strategy if it discusses the real estate matter and contracts in public.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming.
I
Thank
further
you.
move that the board enter into executive session to discuss a real estate matter and contracts under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So, we're entering executive session at 8:02.
Did you stop recording on those? I can't remember.
Yes.